Hello readers, I'm Amy and today I'm going to do the Cull Ya Bookshelves tag. I was tagged for this by Victoria from what Victoria read, and the original video was done by KD Books. I will put the links for both of those channels down below. Let's go ahead and get started. First question, what is the most recent book you've added to the bookshelves and why did you purchase it? I did not actually purchase my most recent book. Most recent one is Lightning Flowers, My Journey to Uncover the Cost of Saving a Life. The author has to get a cardiac defibrillator for the first time, and so she goes through finding out like where each of the pieces of the defibrillator kind of originate from to uncover the cost of a life. I was actually sent this by Little Brown Spark. I need to pick it up soon because it was a book for review. Yeah, I didn't actually purchase it, but I did accept it because that journey of finding the pieces of something reminded me of Omnivore's Dilemma by Michael Pollan, where he goes to the ranches and stuff that a company like McDonald's might use and sees how those ranches are set up and then eats a meal at McDonald's and talks about it. Does that for different kinds of food. Like he also goes to Whole Foods and he also forages for his own food and just kind of breaks that process down. And that's what Lightning Flowers reminded me of, was taking something, breaking it down, finding its origins, having a discussion about it. And I really like that premise, that setup. So I think I'm going to enjoy this one. What book did you buy with absolutely no desire to read it? Simple answer to this question. I will say almost half of the Stephen King books on our Stephen King shelf I bought with pretty much no intention to read, but that's because I bought them for my husband. But we have enough Stephen King books that I'm counting them as part of my library, so don't come for me. What is the most awkwardest size or shape of book that you own? The one that frustrates me the most tends to be Clan of the Cave Bear. This is a huge book. Like, if you think about Memory Police as an averagely sized book, Clan of the Cave Bear is both wider and taller than Memory Police, and this drives me nuts. Also, honestly, pretty much any mass paperback at this point. I used to not really care if I had a mass paperback. I'd actually prefer them because they were cheaper and smaller. But at this point, I have so many regular paperbacks and hardcovers on my shelves that the mass paperbacks are getting really annoying. Also, I'm at that point where I don't want to read super, super tiny type. It's my eyes are already terrible. I don't need to make them worse. Thanks. Show and tell. How do you arrange your shelves? Is there a method to the madness? Why, there is. So this shelf right next to me is my TBR shelf. It has all of the books that I'm going to try and get to in 2021 because I'm not purchasing books in 2021. Or at least that is the goal. Behind me, I can zoom this in a little bit. I have got some illustrated Harry Potters here that I got a while ago. I have science fiction, I have nonfiction stuff, I have memoirs. These are all of my classic books and some of my husband's classic books. A lot of those I'm not going to read because they're my husband's or because they're an older language type thing, but he won't let me get rid of them. The history books that I have, or not history, the classic books that I have on the classics shelf, I am planning on reading eventually. And then over here, we've got Stephen King behind the rocking chair. These are horror books. We've got some dystopia, some contemporary, and down at the bottom is where fantasy and YA stuff has ended up. Yeah, so I have them organized by genre first, and then if I have a lot of that author, like Stephen King is just his own shelf because we have a lot of Stephen King books. Fantasy has a couple of shelves to itself, and those are organized by author. So I have my well, author and series. I have series together, and then I have standalones together. Horror, I have a lot of Grady Hendrix, so those are together. But if I have something like like memoirs, I don't have, I think, any two memoirs that are by the same author. So I organized them by color because I thought it would look pretty. And then you have classics up here, which I have these Barnes & Noble editions. So I organized all of those by color rather than by author. It was easier that way. Yeah, so generally genre and author are my big organization ones. My Stephen King books, or our Stephen King books, are actually organized by publishing date, except for series. So the Dark Tower series and the Mr. Mercedes series are organized right now by however they will fit on the shelf. Ideally, they would be organized in order in which they are read. But the Gunslinger books are all sorts of different sizes. So they're just fit on the shelf however they were fit, because I have some huge hardcovers, or my husband has some huge hardcovers, and then like the middle books of the Dark Tower series are all mass paperbacks, so it just does not work to put them in order of how the story is told, but I did my best. Okay, how often do you have a book call? I actually do this regularly. I'd say once every month or two. I'll go through, like, I'll look through the books that I've read in the last month and be like, am I actually going to read any of these again? How much did I really enjoy this book? And if I decide to give it away, I'll put it off to the side. I'll do a bigger unhaul once every couple of months. I did an unhaul recently because we moved, and I finally admitted to myself about all these different books that I'm just never going to read. So I do it fairly regularly. Also want to make sure to have some space on my shelves for new things. I did build my own bookshelves, and it's a lot of work, and I can't really do much building right now because it's cold outside and the garage is really cold. So that's very much a summer project, and I need to have space on my shelves till the summer. How do you decide if you are going to keep a book or give it away? It's different depending on the book. So some books, like if I read a book and I really wasn't big on it, or I know I'm not going to read it again, then I'll go ahead and give it away. If it's a book that I haven't read yet, I ask myself, how badly do you really want to read this book? Like, if I want to read it, but it's pretty low on my list and it's a pretty easy book to get a hold of, then I will consider giving it away. I did give away some of those in my moving unhaul, because it's like I can easily pick this up at a library a couple of years down the future, down the road. It doesn't need to take up space on my shelf right now, because I'm not going to read it right now. I'm not going to read it in the next year. I'm probably not going to read it in the next 2 years. I'll read it eventually, but there's no reason for it to take up that much space if it's going to be that long until I read it. Which, that moving unhaul also made me seriously consider some of my buying habits. And then I'm also freelance now, so I don't have a regular income. So no more buying books that I don't need. Library. Use your library. What is a contender for the oldest unread book on your shelves? I have two for these. I'm going to say Jane Eyre, because the Bronte books I know are fairly old, and I haven't gotten to them yet. There was an order that I was wanting to read the Bronte books in. I should really just go for it because they're very popular. I'm sure they're popular for a reason. Other contender for oldest unread book is for a book that I've owned the longest and haven't read yet, I believe. And that would probably be Porn Studies. I got this back in college. I did read the first essay in here and I enjoyed it. She's a thick one. And I haven't done much academic reading in the last couple of years. It definitely takes a certain mindset to get into that. So I will be reading this in 2021. That's what I told myself. What book have you read and is currently on your shelves that you would struggle to give a summary on what actually happened in it? Honestly, not that many at first glance. I did a call recently, so I'm pretty aware of all the books that are on my shelves. If I had to choose one, it would probably be one of the Jodi Picos, because it's been a while since I've read those books. I do cherish those books. I've had those for a while. I do pick one up every now and then. I was big on her when I was a teenager. I think she's also very much an adult writer. It's it's just been a while since I picked up one of her books. Which brings us on to the next question. Some books are to be cherished. What book would you never throw or give away? Again, I have 2 books for this. Jurassic Park and Pride and Prejudice. This is a copy that my mom, I think, got from my grandma. And then this is the first copy of Jurassic Park that I ever owned, and I got it at the Salvation Army. Both of these books are bound in packing tape at this point. I don't really pick them up to read much. Jurassic Park is falling apart, and Pride and Prejudice is actually in pieces. But, you know, these were the first ones of these books that I read. And actually, I have a video that I did a while ago on books that have been destroyed with love. And I believe I mentioned both of these, so you should check that out because I actually really enjoyed doing that video. I might have to do something similar again someday. And number 10, don't throw these books away. Out of the ones you've discussed, choose one to actually send to someone close to you or arrange to send it to another booktuber. Why have you chosen this book for them? Not going to do that because I did Cull recently and I am planning on reading all of these except for the Stephen King, which Stephen King books are not mine to give away because I bought them for Chris. So, I think that's it. Thanks to Victoria for tagging me in this. I love a good tag. It's just some nice, easy content to get you into a filming mood. So, I've got some other stuff that I gotta go film. Please like, subscribe, be my friend on social media. I'll see all of you in my next video. Bye, friends.